Okay, let's go.
Hey everyone, this video is going to be about my Ford Transit Connect. This is not my personal van. This is a company van that's been provided to me, and I was given a blank canvas. I requested a brand new one. So this is a 2021 Ford Transit Connect. At the time, I had been doing maintenance with my GMC Sierra. Here's what my GMC Sierra looked like the day I bought it. but look at that truck. That truck was sharp. It didn't have a scratch on it. It had 64,000 miles on it. It was pristine. And within about 4 years, it started showing a lot of abuse from doing maintenance work. So here's what it looks like today, many years later. 11 years, I suppose it is. And it's been retired from the maintenance use. We still use it as a backup vehicle, and we use it as a snowplow and salt truck now. But I drive by it every day. I look at it, and I do remember what it looked like when I bought it. Big truck, 4-wheel drive, V8, very capable, but too big for the little streets of the urban area that I work in. Harder to park. But the open bed made it difficult to leave things in overnight. And I couldn't use a tonneau cover or a cap because I would have to go get appliances at any time of the day. So I had to stay open. So I didn't like leaving a step ladder in there or a shop vac or any other item overnight. So I had to constantly unload the bed every day. And the storage area behind the seats was enough for some hand tools, tool bags, stuff like that, maybe a bucket or two, but nearly impossible to get in and out of in parked area because of these clamshell doors. But I knew after several years of using this GMC Sierra and dreaming like I always do, I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted this. This is a European designed Ford Transit Connect. Made in Spain, has a cult following all over the world, and Ford brought it here. This is their second generation. The first generation was a much different look. This one's actually built off of, I believe, the Ford Focus, the whole front end and a drivetrain, or the Ford Focus car. And I gotta say, this changed my career, this one van. I had a dream on what I wanted to do on the inside, and I built it out exactly the way I wanted to. And that's what this video is about. I have tons of photos of when I built this. This was 4 years ago. I should have shot a video, but I wasn't doing that then. But I do have these photos. I'm gonna actually use that as a slideshow, and I'm gonna narrate what I did. There's tons of guys out there with work vans. I've seen them all. You open the back door or the one side door, and I don't know how they find anything. I laugh when I see them. I can usually spot a step ladder somewhere in the tangled mess. There's usually buckets never sitting flat and just stuff thrown in there. All of them do it. None of them are organized. And I vowed to not do that when I had this van. So I'm going to show you what I did. I think it's a great design for a specific type of maintenance technician. It's not perfect for everybody. This van is not perfect for everybody. But for what I do and the urban area that I work in, this van is perfect. You may get some inspiration from this, pick up some ideas. And then the second part of this video, I'm going to actually show you a current day video of the van in use and how it works, what's stored in it, and what has worked for me and what has not worked for me. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, subscribe, like, share. I really appreciate all the new subscribers. Don't know where you're coming from, but thank you. And here we go. Let's get into it. So as I said, it's a blank canvas. You see it here, nothing but a rubber floor and the metal divider in the front, and then 4 opening doors. I wanted the capability of hauling 4x8 plywood, drywall, paneling, whatever, laying flat on the floor without having to unload everything. And this Transit Connect does in fact have the width to haul 4x8 building material laying flat on the floor. But on the inside, I really wanted to customize this to exactly how I work. I'm a neat freak. I don't like things rattling around. I like to be able to find what I need. And most importantly, I wanted to haul as much of the commonly used items that I need every day, all the time, and not have to unload it at the end of the day. I have all my fasteners, all my hardware, all my power tools, a toilet auger, a light bulb changer. I have all the light bulbs. I have a shop vac in here. I have 2 shop vacs in here. I have caulking guns, caulking tubes. I have paint supplies. I have plumbing supplies. I have electrical supplies, tools for all of those, and all kinds of odds and ends. But the first thing I had to do was build the deck. So the first thing I did is I chose what step ladder I wanted to carry. I chose a 6-foot platform step ladder. I think it's a Gorilla. So I designed this so that the ladder has its spot right under the floor. When you open the right door, it's right there. You slide it out. Nothing's ever in the spot except the ladder, and the ladder is never in another spot except that spot. So I laid the ladder on the right side, and I stood some, I think they're 1x6s, so they're 5.5 inches, on edge, and basically surrounded the ladder with the smallest compartment that I needed for the ladder to fit. The Gorilla ladder is thinner than a 6-foot step ladder, and those 1x6s are perfect for this Gorilla ladder in height. And I didn't want the depth to be any deeper than I needed from the doors in, and as you can see at the front, there's space in the front of this ladder for more storage, and you'll see what I did with that later. To the left of the ladder is just another compartment, and I already knew one of the things I wanted to put in there. 2 things: a broom and dustpan and a toilet auger. Both of these items are over 4 feet long, and I just wanted a slot to throw them in. So now if we go to the front of the van, you're going to see I made 3 compartments, 2 on the driver's side, 1 on the passenger side. These are for drawers, and I'm actually going to show you that I built drawers with full extension ball bearing slides, and these are for smaller items. So once I had the vertical dividers placed where I wanted them, it was just a matter of putting a cap on it. So it's 3/4 inch plywood, and you see I put it in, and I actually carpeted that with a carpet you can buy at the orange store for I think $20 a roll, and I finished it off with some metal capping in the back, but I folded the carpet around all the corners. My goal was every single piece of wood I used would be fully covered with carpet. I didn't want to see any raw wood. I wanted this to look like something I bought from a manufacturer. And then I started building the drawers. I used 3/4 inch maple. I did not dovetail them. Sorry guys, I know. They're not dovetailed. Oh my God. Yeah, well, they are just nailed together and glued, but they do have a finish on them. 1/4 inch plywood bottoms, and like I said, the ball bearing slides. And then the fronts are 3/4 inch fronts on top of the 3/4 inch box. So it's 1.5 inches thick at the front, and it's carpeted, and it gives a really solid thud when you slide it in. And because of that, there's no rattling, there's no squeaking, there's no vibrations, nothing. When I drive this van around, you don't even know there's anything in the back. And when you close it, it looks like this. So once I did the deck, the next step was to start building bins. And I started right at that driver's side door. I knew the first thing I needed was a vertical set of shelves there. But I knew what I wanted on this set of shelves. It was all my hand tools and my power tools. So they don't exist anywhere else in the van. They're all in this one spot. So it starts at the base. I could not have a foot on this set of shelves that went too far into the van because I have to maintain that 4x8 plywood capability. So I knew exactly where the 4x8 plywood would go. If I hauled plywood, put a mark, and then I cut out the foot of the vertical sides of these bins so that they would come up and over a stack of plywood. So on the driver's side, the shelving is there, but you can put plywood underneath it. And if you go and buy aftermarket shelf units for a cargo van, none of them account for this. They all just sit on the floor, and you got to stick your plywood in on an angle if you can. None of them allow you to put plywood underneath their shelves. You'll see as I make all these little shelf units, and I built little front retainer lips for them so nothing would fall out. So I would shut that driver's side door and build this right up to the door. There's no wasted space. And then I attached it to the dividing wall, and I attached it to the pillar, and I attached it down to the floor. So the next thing I built was a shelf unit on the inside behind that driver's side unit. And I really didn't have a whole lot planned for here other than light bulbs, a light bulb changer, it's a pole, and I wanted to hold my small shop vac that I use to vacuum out toilets and have a couple bins for whatever else. So I basically designed this thing that hangs right off the wall. Once again, it's all plywood. A lot of it's 1/2 inch, a couple pieces are 3/4 inch, and it's all wrapped in carpet. Every inch of it is wrapped in carpet. So no matter what I have sitting on these shelves or in these bins, if they rattle around, the carpet absorbs that rattling, and this reduces my stress. One of the features I built was this little tiny cubic type box to hold the handle of my light bulb changer. So we have a lot of recessed light bulbs, and I use a light bulb changer, and it's on a telescoping pole, which, by the way, they're all junk. They all fall apart, break, stop extending, and so on. They all suck, every single one of them. If anybody knows of a good one of those, put it in the comments. I've done them all. And the little telescoping thing just quits like almost immediately. So I have it duct taped up. But you put the handle in this one little slot, and then I bought these mop brackets, and you just clip the rest of it, the other part of the handle, into the mop bracket. And then I keep the heads separate in a bin. And that's about all I did on the left side. I think I put up a couple hooks to hang boots. That's the neat thing about the plywood underneath it. You can drill in a couple hooks here and there. You can just attach some hooks and hang what you want. So then I went to the right side. And my second most commonly used items, other than the step ladder and the stuff on the left side, is plumbing items. There's never a shortage of plumbing work in maintenance. It just never ends. And oh, have I learned from the plumbers, let me tell you. We've had plenty of plumbers, and I have learned a lot watching those guys fumble around in their buckets, finding something, anything, and they can never find a damn thing. So I learned watching them, don't do that. First thing I did, no 5-gallon bucket for me. I got these smaller buckets, and then I make 4 of these buckets, separate them by type of plumbing work. I'm never called in to work on a bathtub and a toilet and a trap and a clog at the same time. Never. But plumbers have all that shit in one bucket. Anyway, like I said, I've learned. So I made 4 buckets. One for clogs, snake drain, so on, hair clogs. One for general plumbing repairs. One just for traps. and one just for toilets. And on the right side of the van, there's just enough room for 4 buckets to fit in a line. So I built this shelf, which is 2 layers. The top layer has holes cut in for the buckets, so the buckets sit down in these holes. I pull up to an apartment. I need to go unclog a drain. I grab the first bucket on the back of the van. It's the very first one, because it's the most common thing I do is unclog drains. I just grab that bucket and go. I don't have to go looking for my different tools that unclog drains. And then when I'm in the apartment, I'm not emptying the bucket of all my other stuff that I didn't need. That's the point of 4 buckets. Underneath it, 2 more shelves, just to throw different items like bungee cords for tie downs, supply lines for plumbing, things like that. And again, this also mounted on the wall and was covered in carpet, leaving space underneath it so you could slide plywood right underneath this. So when I was done with this one, I moved to the front of this shelf unit, and I had a little bit of space in the front of it that hung down, and I knew exactly what I could do with that. I needed a place to put caulking tubes. I usually carry at least 2, at least a silicone for plumbing and at least a latex for painting. And I usually have some scrapers, putty knives, things like that. So I built this little tiny piece of wood, looks like a cutlery divider that hangs, and again, completely wrapped in carpet. Nothing rattles, nothing slides around, nothing jumps out of its hole. And I basically just designed it to hang right on the front of this shelf unit. So I knew that I needed to keep a wet vac with me at all time for emergency cleanups, mostly during call-outs. I went out and purchased a brand new shop vac just for this use. And I built this retainer board right on the divider with 2 eye hooks. And I put the shop vac in, and one matching orange bungee cord holds it in place. That shop vac rides around in the van all the time. Always accessible, not in a heaping pile of crap. And if I want to buy a sheet of plywood, it'll roll right underneath the shop vac. I don't even have to take it out. Then when I finished that, I realized I have enough space left over for something else. So I stole an idea from Rolls-Royce, because that's what we all do on our work vans. And I gave myself an umbrella shelf. Now they put theirs into a neat little pocket hole right in the door jamb, but I didn't want to do that. So I built this little shelf, and it's basically just a holder for an umbrella. Thought that was kind of neat. Then I have one middle area here. This is just a empty spot. I didn't know what to do with it, but I knew I needed to fill it. So I filled it with an angled shelf and a retaining front edge on it. And that's under the right side. Then finally, finish this whole process off with a couple of bins. Just 3 bins that sit on the floor. Collect-alls. The one on the right, there's one on the left, and then there's one in the front. And these 3 bins are the only thing I have to remove when I want to haul plywood or drywall. In fact, I can leave them there if I can slide it underneath, which is usually what I do. So for the next part, I'm actually going to show you what I have in this van and how much stuff's in there and how it benefits me in my job.